Hey guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today we're headed out to do some winter bass fishing together. It's chilly. It's 28 degrees out here. I'm actually an hour late this morning and I'm still the only trailer in the parking lot. I love fishing this time of year. Let's go. I've got big plans today. We'll see how they play out. We are going to run and gun. It's cold, but we're still gonna try and power fish. Now I've got, a Ned rig and a jig and some of those different slow presentations tied on as well, but we've got A-rigs, swim baits, tactical cranks, jerk baits, mid-strolling baits, a variety of power fishing techniques, a blade bait that can work through the cold water period. There's not a lot of pressure, obviously, with an empty parking lot. Now, granted, there's 20 other boat ramps on this lake, but we'll see. This is a good sign. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people out here. I think we'll get to pick and choose our spots, and hopefully we get into them today. Got him. That was a subtle bite. That fish is cold. Come here, come here. I got him on top. He's trapped. Yes. S-Waver 168. Man, wintertime, we talk a lot about throwing hard baits, or I'm sorry, soft baits, like a Huddleston or a Savage Pier. But if those fish are up in the water column at all, if they're in less than 7 or 8 feet, that S-Waver is a great option. Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one. That one smashed it. Nice. Nice. Did I mention that I love winter fishing? Did I mention that? That's what I'm talking about. We've already got the fish that we came for today. It's already over. Hello, girl. Look at that one. So that S-Waver color, that's called Cali Hitch. That's a new color. It's a Tackle Warehouse exclusive color, but when I saw it, I had to have it. That's the right one right there. That's awesome. My hands are numb, but who cares? All right, let's get that girl back in the water. See ya. Got him. Oh, it's another good one. It's another good one. Just a little smaller than the last. Come here, buddy. Awesome. Get you out of this net. Sorry about that. My hands are too cold. I'm gonna hook myself. Oh, there you go. Another beautiful, beautiful winter bass. So guys, a couple of things. What I'm fishing right now is a little drop off. We're on the Tennessee River. And where I'm fishing goes from about 4 or 5 foot, and then it drops out to deep water. And these fish, because it's low light, have moved up to feed towards the top of that drop. Later in the day, they'd be way lower. They'd be out there in 12 to 25 feet of water. Obviously, I can't target those fish with a shallow glide bait, but in the morning, they move up. You know, we recently did a mistakes video talking about mistakes people make this time of year. One of the things I talked about is how you have got to get out early, get out low light. I know it's cold. My hands are so cold and they're wet too. It's freezing. You think I care right now? I'm the only trailer in the parking lot. Granted, I showed up an hour later than I wanted to, but it's early, it's low light. Those big fish, when that water's cold, they don't want to miss. They want to capitalize. When they feed, they want to get their target. So low light is to their advantage. That water temperature is not going to change much throughout the day this time of year. It's not like in the afternoon it's going to be drastically warmer. Their life is going to be any easier. It's not a big difference. So those fish, they're feeding regardless. Right now we're capitalizing by throwing a bigger presentation to get those fish. And then again, one of the cool things about an S-Waver is I could throw it on light tackle, right? This is 20-pound leader, 50-pound braid. I'm throwing this on a Megabass Orochi XX braillist. It's my jig rod with a Corrado, the new Corrado M. That's allowing me to fish it very comfortably. This isn't a big, cumbersome swim bait setup. It's just a jig rod, just whipping these baits around, a couple of size 2 hooks, and sticking big ones. Maybe we can get another. All right, guys, we made a move. Now we're on the end of a long tapering point, but it's really flat all the way out. Look at that. He choked it. He could not crack that thing any better. Did I mention I love fishing in the cold? I love this time of year. No boat traffic. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and you better believe they still bite. Hopefully nobody's out there, because this fog is so thick. I'm throwing a crankbait now. I'm throwing the Tactical DD. The fog is so thick, I'm throwing it out of sight. It's disappearing before it hits the water. Man, it's scary when those boats come by in the fog. I could hear him coming for a minute before he got here. I mean, he missed me by 2 cast lengths, but he didn't see me until he had already missed me at random. That fog, man, it'll get you. Now, my whole game today, and a game that you guys should consider this time of year, is fishing those fast transitions from shallow water to deep water, because if the fish are in a feeding mood, they move up on them. If they shut down, they back off of them. So that can be pinch points, like a narrow spot in your lake. It can be the end of a long tapering point where it finally breaks off. It can be, you know, like steep stuff, like bluff walls that they can move up and down on. It can be where In this case, we're on the Tennessee River, you know, a giant lake, and that's why we have to cover so much ground. Places where creeks tie in or coves tie in, and that comes out and then falls onto the main river channel. So we're gonna run and gun today. Hopefully that pays off. We've already had an epic morning. I love catching a big one early. It's awesome. But we're gonna get to it. I'm gonna put my jacket back on. I warmed up a little bit, speed cranking, but as soon as I put it down, I'm freezing again. So let's get to it. We just got to our next stop. This is where a creek dumps into the main river. And I just made a blind cast up shallow and worked it off the break. That's a 3.5 inch spunk shad. And I'm mid-strolling that. So shaking it while reeling, and the bait is rocking back and forth. Think of this as a swim bait, but instead of that paddle tail kick, it's body roll. Just a very subtle, very natural presentation, and it's been working really well for us lately. Whoa, whoa. Did not see that coming. I thought that cast was over. I was almost under the boat. He smoked it. That's fun. That guy just swallowed that Demiki vault. Look at that thing down in there. That blade bait is gone. Nice one. Man, this is fun. I've seen one boat so far today, and it's starting to get, I mean, a reasonable temperature. I mean, I'm still in insulated bibs with a reaper on, but I think pretty soon I'll be out of the bibs. It's gonna turn into a halfway decent day, and the fishing is awesome. That one smashed it. I felt that through the slack. Again on that blade bait. Demiki vault, 1/2 ounce, black hollow. So here's the deal. I've been talking all day about how these fish sit on these high priority places, or these places where they're likely to be able to feed, right? Whether that's the end of a point, whether that's where two coves come together, whether that's, in the case of where we are now, a spot where there's a big flat and there's sort of a drain coming out of that flat, and then it ties in to the deeper water. On this one, these fish, they were probably up feeding early. They probably were, but I wasn't here for that. So now they've backed off. They're sitting out there, I don't know, I'm in 10. So where I am is the end of a flat. And again, there's a little drain coming out of that flat. And then it rolls off into like 20 to 25. And I'm sitting in 10. Ooh, that felt like a bite. I'm sitting in 10 and I'm throwing off that edge and I'm coming back up because these fish, they did the bulk of their feeding early today. That's why you want to be out early. But they'll still feed throughout the day. So they've backed off and they're sitting on the deep side of that edge. So now I'm on top, throwing out to them and coming back up through those lethargic fish, just trying to pick some off, and it's working. We've got the last three that way. The two blade bait fish and the mid-strolling fish were all coming up slope, back up to where these fish probably were an hour or two or three ago, probably up around where the boat is. But now they've gone off that side and I'm just pulling them up, and it's not complicated. I mean, you can do this stuff with basic electronics. You can do it with no electronics, frankly. You get a map, paper map of the lake. You look for where those drains come out to deep water, or you look for main lake points. You look for spots where the lake narrows down, and then you fish the nearest points to that narrow down. And again, in the morning, you throw up shallow. And then as that sun gets up overhead, you fish the deeper edges. It's a very basic pattern, and it will work almost anywhere all winter long, all through the cold water months. These fish, they'll back to these high priority places, these likely locations, and then unless something catastrophic happens, you know, huge drop in water, huge flood, you know, 30-degree temperature swing, something that forces them to move, they'll pretty much stay there. So once you've got them, you can catch those fish for weeks and weeks, if not months. That's one of the beauties of winter fishing. It's not just about today. It's about being able to replicate this and have a blast on a lake almost by myself that's known for having tons of pressure, right? There's times a year where people don't want to be out. This is one of them. There's no reason not to be out here. Uh-oh. It feels like a giant. Also feels like it's rolling. I think we got a catfish. It's no giant, but it is a catfish. Hey, buddy. Oh, you're just gonna make a mess of my gear, aren't you? Mess of my gear, mess of my boat. Hi. Blade bait, he's hog-tied himself. It's all the way around his gill plates. Relax. I promise I'm gonna let you go. It's a drum. Man, he hit that hard. Get over here. Mid-strolling drum. All right, I'm gonna take that guy as a sign. Things seem to be slowing down. That sun's getting up. Those fish have definitely backed out. He came out of 20+ feet of water. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I had originally planned to fish a full day, but we caught him so good in the morning. I feel like we got our big one. I don't feel like we're gonna catch a bigger one today. So I'm just gonna wrap it up right there. I hope you guys had a blast. Tim and I have had an awesome time doing the buyer's guide series with you, but we are ready to get back to fishing. I'm sure you are too. We're headed into Christmas. It's just an exciting time of year, and I'm really glad you guys took the time to come out here with me today. Of course, I'll link the baits, the rods, the reels, all that in the video description for you, the exact colors I'm throwing, all that stuff. I hope you enjoyed coming along. I hope you learned something about how these fish are positioning in the cold water. You know, this Tennessee River is a crazy place. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but that is still a grass edge. It's cold. Our creeks, all of our shallow coves, all had skim ice on them yesterday. I mean, a sheet layer of ice on them, but still the water is dropping here. It goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down, and that insulates a lot of the grass on the Tennessee River, and it will, some of it will make it all the way through into next year. A lot of it'll die back, but some of it still makes it. It's remarkable, but it's, at least for me, it's not in play at all at this point. I'm catching my fish out, offshore, deeper, you know, that isolated structure, main lake structure, that's where I'm fishing. But it's crazy that that stuff is still here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.